Hello. Well, I never thought I'd be saying thank you to the Iranians, but here goes. Britain's honour has been salvaged, and it's all because of the Iranians. On July the 4th, off the coast of Gibraltar, British port authorities and the Royal Marines, God bless them all, boarded the Panama-registered supertanker Grace 1. And they arrested the captain and chief officer, and a few days later, apparently, some more of the crew as well. Because the Grace 1 was carrying crude oil to Syria, and there's an embargo on Iranian crude oil. Now, why they're carrying it to Syria? Well, I wouldn't say that Iran has the best of relationships with Syria, but it does have the best of relationships with Hamas. So my theory is that they were getting that crude oil to Hamas to create all sorts of mayhem. Anyway, they were taking this crude oil to Syria, and I'm very relieved they were stopped, because there's nothing worse, of course, than crude oil. The very least it can do is be polite. Then, on July the 12th, the Iranian powers that be released a statement that was anything but polite, demanding that the British Navy release the tanker, accusing London of playing a dangerous game and threatening retribution. Foreign Ministry spokesman Abbas Mousavi, I do apologise, Mr. Mousavi, told the Iranian state news agency, IRNA, that the legal pretexts for the capture are not valid. The release of the tanker is in all countries' interest. And then he said, rest assured, Britons will soon feel the slap of the powerful hands of the Islamic Republic. So I thought maybe we should all be aware of what he meant by that sentence, because I don't know how many of you are aware of the custom of jizya. Jizya is the tax exacted by Muslim authorities in countries that they run upon non-Muslims, principally Christians and Jews. And it's often by apologists referred to as simply a tax. But it isn't simply a tax. First of all, the tax is very heavy. And then there's a ceremony which accompanies the giving of this tax, where the victims of the tax have to all assemble in the courtyard of the courthouse or the palace where the ruler is, and then they have to wait upon the pleasure of the ruler, who may or may not turn up on time, and then each one of them has to approach the ruler in a semi-crouched position, holding out the money in his hands in front of him, and when the money has been taken from his hands, the ruler will then slap this person, because in the Quran it says you have to humble those who are taxed because they're not Muslims. You've got to humiliate them. So this here, Britons will soon feel the slap of the powerful hands of the Islamic Republic, was a direct reference to Britain being humiliated by their Iranian masters. Well, it didn't quite work out like that. The retribution they tried followed very swiftly. The powerful hands of the Islamic Republic started administering their slap by waylaying a British oil tanker, which had the good patriotic name of British Heritage, as it was making for the Straits of Hormuz. According to the British Navy, the warship HMS Montrose, which was accompanying the tanker, was forced to position herself between the Iranian vessels and British Heritage and issue verbal warnings to the Iranian vessels, which then turned away. Right, so that wasn't much of a fight. So much for the powerful hands of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard. They, of course, deny that any incident had occurred in the Strait. The Ministry of Defence, the British Ministry of Defence, said in a statement, contrary to international law, 3 Iranian vessels attempted to impede the passage of a commercial vessel, British Heritage, through the Strait of Hormuz. And the Foreign Minister of Iran said, well, he told the Fars news agency, what the British have said and the claims that have been made are for creating tension, and these claims have no value. What really interests me is the journey that the Iranian ship took to get to the Straits of Gibraltar in the first place. Because, you see, they couldn't go overland, which would have been the logical thing, because that would have had them going through Iraq, which is still at least partially under Western control, and Syria, well, which is at least partially in control of Assad, who is no friend of the Iranians, or the other way would have been through the Suez Canal, and that would have meant the Suez Canal authorities would have stopped them. So what they had to do was go all the way round. Now, I don't know where they set off from, but looking at the possibilities, the first one would be Chabahar, which is a Persian, an Iranian port. After that, there's Karachi, which is a Pakistani port. Now, Pakistan and Iran are reasonable colleagues. The captain and first officer of the boat were Indian. So that could give, it might have been Kandia in India or Mumbai. But certainly India is no friend of Iran either. They cause all sorts of trouble. So where this ship actually came from is, I've seen theories about it coming from a port in the Persian Gulf, but I can't believe that because the British and the Americans are in control of that waterway, and they might have, if they'd have caught that boat, they would have stopped it before it started, surely. So anyway, it would have taken that route from somewhere around there, and then it would have had to go all around the Horn of Africa, all up the western side, and then it was heading into Gibraltar and through the Mediterranean into Syria, where it would deliver the oil and cause all sorts of trouble. Obviously, Iran needs the money, but there's no way a supertanker can just slip through the Straits of Gibraltar. They go down to 9 miles wide at their narrowest point. Here's a picture of Gibraltar, and that's the Atlas Mountains in Africa in the background. And I might say the Rock of Gibraltar itself is a fortress rock with more tunnels in it than a chunk of Emmental. And I know that during World War II, the British Army dug out about 30 miles of tunnels into that rock. So God alone knows what they've got in there now. And that's, of course, apart from the satellite surveillance. So it's sort of obvious that Iran is just looking to spark off some sort of incident. And I don't understand what they really think they're about. But anyway, that's what's going on up to now. Maybe events will overtake this video. I don't know, I better get it out as soon as I can. But the Montrose did very well. I can honestly, and they did it simply by, well, willy waving, I suppose. They just waved their guns in the direction of the Iranians. There's a funny clip in Carry On Up the Khyber. If I can find it, I'll put it up there as well.
I'm afraid we're done for, sir. There's too many of them.
Not yet. Line your men up down there.
Sir?
Line them up! Facing the enemy.
Engage! Form one, straight line!
frighten you now. Hands raised!
There's nothing to be afraid of.
Oh, I don't know, though. All right, Captain, dismiss the men.
Thank you, sir. Carry on, Sergeant Major.
Right, you go to nothing!
But I can honestly say that I'm proud now of the British Navy, and I want to point something else out, that what Britain did, we did on our own, and without the European Union giving us orders. Click on subscribe and then on the bell so you're notified of a new video. Occasionally you might find your subscription has lapsed without your knowledge, so keep checking that button. Thanks for listening. Please like and subscribe, and if you wish to donate, click the subscribe star link where you can make a one-off payment or set up a regular contribution, or I have a PayPal account at grannyopteryx@gmail.com. Till next time.